quarterback battles, rookie standouts and floppers, and secondary questions without answers. Who knew that week 2 of the preseason would have me as intrigued as Wile E. Coyote when Roadrunner passed through brick walls? What I'm about to break down may or may not change how we see these teams and players. This is HillTimeSports. Let's go. Week 1 has delivered absolutely no answers to who is the number 2 cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles. We all know Quinyon Mitchell is the lock at that number 1 position, and Cooper DeJean is the slot corner. But outside of that, we have 2 guys that were battling it out since the beginning of training camp. Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo. The only problem is none of these guys have lived up to those expectations. Kelee Ringo missed a tackle that led to a 36-yard scamper from Jamar Chase. And Adoree Jackson, well, hasn't really done much either. That's why the Eagles this week traded for Jacorian Bennett, but he got beat in practice by Jerry Jeudy like, as Jim Ross would say, a government mule. He had a couple of penalties also in combined practices with the Browns. And outside of a pass breakup earlier that day, well, hasn't shown much. He runs a 4.39 40, but the guy's getting beat, and beat bad. Ringo also kept the trend going by allowing big passes and getting flagged as well. Adoree Jackson was the best of the bunch, but, not really doing much for me. Here is the big prediction. After week 2, the Eagles are going to be shopping around. Howie Roseman is going to use his superpowers to try and find a replacement for Darius Slay, who left for the Steelers this year, because we desperately need it if we're going to compete. My confidence level for this is 6 out of 10 cheesesteaks, because the Eagles need a cornerback opposite Quinyon Mitchell like a horse needs to stay off the streets of Philadelphia after winning the Super Bowl. Speaking of Philadelphia, Johnny Wilson is making a name for himself at Eagles camp. While the offense struggled, he had a 25-yard grab that wowed the team against the Browns in practice. Not in the game yet. And in week 1 of the preseason, he had 3 catches for 73 yards. This might be my boldest prediction of the day of the video, but Johnny Wilson by midseason is going to be one of Jalen Hurts' favorite targets on 3rd down. He's got a big body and a big catch radius, and that's what Philadelphia has been looking for. My confidence level for this is pretty low, and it might be the lowest of the video. 5 out of 10 Liberty Bells, because that wide receiver room is deeper than when you're having a conversation while sitting on the toilet. In the deserts of Las Vegas, there's already murmurs that Ashton Jeanty's a bust. 3 carries, -1 yards. I've heard it, and I get my information from a reliable, reasonable, rational source. The comments of Instagram. But hold your horses, everyone, because there's no need to panic. He's not Trent Richardson, and I suspect in week 2 he's going to go 50 yards and a touchdown if he plays, when he plays. But in the regular season, get ready. The Raiders are no longer going to be a terrible run team, because Jeanty is going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year. You heard it here first on HillTimeSports. Unless someone's already said it, well, I didn't hear anything about it, so you heard it here first. My confidence level is through the roof. 9.9 eye patches, because y'all are blind thinking that he's going to be a bust. Now to the beaches of South Florida and Miami. We got a backup quarterback battle that may decide the future of a former first-round pick. Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers are locked in a battle to see who's going to come up after Tua gets hurt again, unfortunately, if he doesn't protect himself. Now they combined for, 10 completions. Wilson had 96 yards, but I suspect, and you could call this a bold prediction, Zach Wilson's career is done after week 2 because Quinn Ewers is going to show you why he was one of the best players coming out of high school. He's going to be the backup for Tua Tagovailoa, and Zach Wilson may or may not get another chance in the NFL. My confidence level on this, 4 out of 10 Ace Venturas, because unlike Snowflake, does anybody really care who the backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins is? You are if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, but other than that, I don't think anybody else cares. And finally, if you're anything like me, you drafted Matthew Golden as your wide receiver in fantasy football. And for the first time in 22 years, the Green Bay Packers drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Now, he may have only had a catch for 7 yards, but this week, he's going for 50 plus, a touchdown, and a big catch that could change the momentum. You know why? Because I desperately need him to show that he's going to be a good receiver. Hopefully he's a number 1 wide receiver for the Packers this year, because I need my 4th championship in fantasy football in my league. So my confidence level is 8 out of 10 because it has to be. If he doesn't perform well, then I'm SOL. But having said all of this, Hill Timers, what do y'all think? You guys think I'm full of crap? Or do you agree with any of my predictions? What are some of your bold predictions? Leave them in the comments. And like always, I'll see you in the next video when it comes out. This is HillTimeSports. Adios.